Okay, so let's be real. You've heard the term data science thrown around everywhere. It's one of the most talked about fields out there today, but what does it actually, mean? Let's cut through all the hype and get right down to what it is and how it really works.
So think about this for a second. It always starts with a big question, right? How does a company decide what product to build next? Or how do they figure out what their customers really want? Well, it's not just a guessing game anymore. More and more, the answer is hiding in the data.
And at its very core, this is what data science is all about. But I want you to pay attention to a couple of key phrases here. First, noisy data. Because let's face it, real-world information is always messy and incomplete. And second, action. This is so important. The whole point isn't just to find cool patterns, it's to turn those patterns into real decisions a business can actually use.
Now, another thing to get straight is that data science isn't just one skill. It's this powerful, kind of magical combination of three different areas. You absolutely need the computer science chops to handle huge amounts of data. You need the mathematics and stats to find the real meaning inside it all. And this part is so crucial. You need the business expertise to even know what questions you should be asking in the first place. Nobody's an expert in all three, which is exactly why this is a team sport.
But see, not all questions are created equal. The true power of data science, where it gets really exciting, is when you start answering questions that look into the future to help you shape it. And that whole journey happens in 4 very distinct stages.
I really like thinking of this as climbing a ladder of insight. At the very bottom, you have descriptive analytics. That just tells you what happened. So, for example, our sales went up last month. Cool. You take one step up to diagnostic analytics, and that tells you why it happened. Oh, it's because of that new marketing campaign we ran. Now, this is where it gets really powerful. The next step is predictive analytics, which forecasts what will probably happen next. And at the very, very top of the ladder is prescriptive analytics. This doesn't just predict, it gives you a direct recommendation. Here is what you should do to increase sales by 10%. See how each step up delivers so much more value?
And to climb up to those top 2 rungs on the ladder, you need some serious tools. You're trying to find order in chaos, basically. And that's where something like machine learning comes into play. These are algorithms that can just dig through massive, messy data sets and find these really subtle patterns to make predictions, stuff that's way beyond what a human mind could do on its own.
Okay, so we know the what and the why. So now let's get into the how. This whole thing isn't just a random process. It's actually a pretty structured journey, a life cycle you can repeat that turns a simple question into a powerful insight you can act on. And it all starts with business understanding. Seriously, this is the most important part. If you ask the wrong question, you're just going to get a fantastic answer to a useless question. From there, you go hunting. You mine for the data you need. But like we said, that data is always messy, which leads to the super critical and kind of unglamorous step of cleaning it. Only after it's clean can you really start to explore it for patterns. And finally, you visualize the results so that people can actually understand them and do something with them. Now, this whole process relies on a team of people with really different skills. Data science is almost never a solo mission. So let's meet the key players who make all of this happen.
So, on a typical team, you're going to find 3 main roles. You've got the business analyst. Think of them as the translator. They bridge the gap to the business side, helping frame the right questions and then presenting the final answers. Then you have the data engineer. They're the builders, the plumbers. They build the foundation by finding the data and getting it ready to use. And then there's the data scientist. They're the explorer, the detective, using all sorts of advanced tools and models to uncover those deep insights. And you can see how their jobs all overlap. That collaboration is everything.
Yeah, that overlap is absolutely critical. In the real world, the lines between these jobs get really blurry. The best work, the best insights, they happen right at that intersection where the analyst, the engineer, and the scientist are all working together like one single unit. So, we have the questions, we have the process, and we have the team. But what's the end game? What is the one big idea you should really take away from all of this?
This quote just sums it all up perfectly. It's really all about a transformation. You start with this messy, raw, chaotic information, you refine it into actual knowledge, and then, and this is the most important part, you forge that knowledge into actions that drive real-world results. That, right there, is the power and the promise of data science.
And that's really the heart of it all. Now that you can see the potential, this power to turn noise into action, the only question left is the one you start with. I mean, data is literally all around us, in our jobs and in our lives. So what problem would you want to solve first? Thanks for watching.